Whenever we think about the prophets, names like Isaiah, Micah, and Jeremiah come to mind. But did you know that some prophets people talk about never actually existed? Number one is a prophet many of you might not even know you're quoting, the patriarch Jacob, which comes from the text called Prayer of Joseph. Now, we don't have the full text today, but the early church father Origen, a major theologian from the 3rd century, quoted it. He says in this book, Jacob literally claims to be the firstborn of all living beings and the head of all the angels. He even says that when he wrestled the angel Uriel, he told the angel, "I am superior to you." But here's the important part. None of these statements appear anywhere in the Bible. Origen himself says this is a writing not to be despised, but it's a pseudepigrapha, means a false writing. Number two is actually a duo, Eldad and Modad. You might recall the name from the book of Numbers, chapter 11. Two elders who prophesied in the camp. Here's the catch. There's a whole lost book called the Book of Eldad and Modad that claims to be their written prophecies. The Shepherd of Hermas, an early Christian text, actually quotes it as a genuine prophetic work. But scholars like Dillman and Hilgenfeld agree this is a Jewish apocryphal work. It was likely written to answer questions about the end times and Magog. It might have been a sensationalized version of what happened in Numbers. You are quoting a book that never made it into the Bible, written by authors who were trying to cash in on the legacy of two obscure figures. They existed, but this prophetic book is a fiction. Number three is the big one, Enoch. The book of Enoch is incredibly popular in some circles today. It talks about fallen angels, giants, and secret knowledge. But here is the historical fact. The book of Enoch is an apocalyptic text from about the 2nd century. It's not a 6,000-year-old book. It was written in the intertestamental period by a Jewish sect, likely the Essenes. Look at the names in these chapters. The book lists the names of the watcher angels, Samyasa, Arstikatha, Armin, Kakabael, Turel. That list doesn't appear in Genesis. It was created by a later author trying to build a mythology around the sons of God in Genesis 6. Jude quotes the book of Enoch in the Bible, which is a debate for another video. But the book itself is pseudepigraphal. It claims to be written by an ancient prophet, but it was composed by a writer hundreds of years later. Number four is Elijah, or rather, the Apocalypse of Elijah. The Apostle Paul wrote in 1 Corinthians 2 verse 9, "What no eye has seen, what no ear has heard." Early church fathers like Origen actually thought Paul was quoting the Apocalypse of Elijah when he said that, a lost book, supposedly written by Elijah, that was popular in the early church. Here is the point. If Paul quoted an apocryphal book, great, but that doesn't make Elijah the author of that book. This apocalypse was likely a Jewish work written centuries after Elijah was taken to heaven. People assume Elijah wrote a book, but that's a myth from the 1st century. Number five is a variation of Isaiah. You might have heard the story that the prophet Isaiah was sawn in two by King Manasseh. Where did that come from? The book of 2 Kings just says Manasseh was wicked. It never mentions killing Isaiah. The story of Isaiah being martyred comes from a Jewish text called The Ascension of Isaiah. It was written in the 1st or 2nd century CE. It's a classic case of tradition versus history. The tradition says Isaiah was a martyr. The history says we don't know. The text is a pseudepigrapha, and a Jewish sect wrote it to explain why Isaiah's blood was on Manasseh's hands. There is no biblical record of Isaiah being killed by Manasseh. The prophet who died that way is a fictionalized version of Isaiah. Number six is a group of stories called the Lives of the Prophets. This is an anonymous text from around the 1st century CE that claims to tell you where the prophets died, how they died, and where their tombs are. It gives us information on the fates of prophets like Isaiah, Jeremiah, and Ezekiel. The problem? It is full of Christian interpolations and expansions, meaning Christians added to the text later. And here is the killer. The text says 6 prophets are martyred. It gives you the location of their graves. But archaeologists like Jeremias, who studies these things, point out that this text is more about popular devotion and tradition than actual history. People are walking into church today believing they know where Isaiah is buried, but the only source for that information is a 1st century fake news document.